Record, and we are official now. Everybody be good.
Is Rody showing up there?
We haven't heard from him. I think he's got some family stuff going on. So.
All right. Well.
That's why we have a vice president, right?
Christopher's supposed to have the agenda. Do we have anybody else have a copy of an agenda right now?
Oh, let's see.
If we have it on the.
It's on the wiki.
Okay.
If somebody wants to pull it up.
I am working on that.
Okay.
Well, good morning, everybody, or afternoon, wherever you are.
Still morning here.
Yeah, still morning here.
I'm furthest east of all of you.
All right, let's see here.
I am sending you the link. I think most of you have it to the draft form. For the conference registration.
Robin, I'm having a problem finding the. Oh,
okay.
Wait a minute. Monthly online meetings. Okay, there we go. June 14th.
Should be, yeah, okay.
I just put a link to it in the chat window.
Okay, I got it now.
Aha, okay.
All right. So we'll start off with announcements. Anybody have any announcements before we hit the bulk of the agenda?
My official unveiling of the Koha MedStar Authors Catalog was at MLA a couple of weeks ago. It went very well. They actually, our IT department actually lined up the domain names so that it worked, and maybe a dozen people stayed for my presentation.
Awesome.
It was 4:05 to 4:20 in the last day of the conference. It was a pretty impressive crowd.
Yeah, I'd say.
How long have you been working on that now?
4 years.
You got to feel good to get on the other end of that.
Yes.
Awesome.
Now I just have to clean it up, and yeah.
Awesome. Any other announcements? All right. First order of business, Koha-US business. So for the upcoming conference, looks like we have nomination of Koha-US officers. I guess my role as vice president rolls into the role of president this next time around, but the roles for vice president, secretary, treasurer, and member at large are open. So please be thinking about whether you'd like to run for one of those offices for this organization, or if you have somebody in mind that you would like to nominate. I'd like to have those nominations for the July meeting so that people know who that is. When we meet at the conference, we'd like to be able to vote those members in. Any comments? Okay, easy, awesome. First one down. All right, next on the agenda, 2017 conference report. We are finalizing the registration. I'm hoping that we will get the registration open today if we can get everybody to sign off on the registration form and say we're good to go. Robin has been working on the PayPal link for that, and we've got the information for people to send in the registration fee of $25. And the schedule has been up for people to peruse. So we did get Chris Cormack to sign off on being our keynote speaker for the conference. He's going to remote in to do his presentation, and so that was huge. So we've got that squared away, and I think we've got everybody's topics listed on the schedule, so I think we're moving forward at a good pace. So hopefully today we'll get that registration open for people to start signing up. Any questions on the conference? Man, you guys are easy. All right. Either that or my audio is turned off. Okay. Number 3, Koha-US Finance Committee report. So I have Todd Goatley talking about Koha-US fundraising. There's 7 points on there.
Yeah, and I think that this might, it has the opportunity to get a little involved. So I'm wondering if we shouldn't just go ahead and can we roll Nick into maybe leading off with the Elasticsearch information that he has, and then we can just take this up when he's done.
Any objections? All right, Nick, it's yours.
All right. What do you guys want to know?
Everything.
So specifically, are you asking about Elasticsearch in 1611 or the current state of Elasticsearch in general?
I don't know anything about why this was on here. I thought it was something that you had on here. I don't know.
It just says report. Oh, yeah. It just says report on the implementation and functions of Elasticsearch in Koha 1611.
I asked for that,
Okay.
Awesome.
and we're interested in it, but we don't know anything about it. We keep hearing about it. We just like an update on where it is and when we can expect it.
All right. Elasticsearch is in 1611. However, I wouldn't recommend using it in production quite yet. The current state of things, there is actually a wiki page. It was posted to the Koha development listserv just recently. I'll try to find that link in a minute. That lists all the current ongoing bugs that are happening with it. There is one critical bug right now that is basically preventing the indexing from working correctly. But that has more to do with the versions of the underlying dependencies. Elasticsearch itself is working well. It does a lot of interesting things. It is different than Zebra, which is the expectation. A lot of it is just trying to figure out what needs to be copied from Zebra and what can be different, like where it's a problem that we're not doing what Zebra does and where it's a feature that we're not doing what Zebra does. It is going to be faster, it is going to be more configurable, and it's going to give you better results. We've had a few sites test it in limited ways, and they've reported that they really liked what they got back from it. They found the results to be a lot more useful and have a lot less chatter, let's say, a lot less results that you wouldn't want to be in your searches. So it's Elasticsearch itself, the underlying module, like Elasticsearch, not Elastic and Koha. Elasticsearch is an extremely powerful tool. The way that I keep describing it to people is basically Elasticsearch is a tank with a bottle opener on the side, and what we're really doing right now is using that bottle opener. That's the features that it has are just, there's going to be extra things we can do, like adding patron searches, doing that. We can probably do some statistics and reporting using Elasticsearch. But right now we're just focusing on getting the search in and adding it. The webpage with the list mentioned some of the things that you're going to want. Like right now you can't add indexes. You can specify which fields go into an index, but you can't add a new index. So for instance, barcode is not in the base indexes that you get with Koha. So it needs to be added in, but there's no way for the user to do that on their end right now. Little things like that and a couple other bugs are what we're working on. Unicode support needs to get added. And really what we need at this point is we need people in the community testing it. So we've got the new RM, Jonathan Drouart. He is working on reaching out and trying to get new people involved in the project and helping revamp the way that we get new people involved. If any of you are interested in working on it, please let us know and you can do that. On the side of when are you actually going to see Elasticsearch and use it, at Bywater, we're going to talk about how we're going to build the servers this summer. Elasticsearch one of the great features about it is that it is really powerful. It does take some underlying computer, you need power to run it as well, but it's clusterable, which means that we can build it in a way that when we need to add more servers, we can just bring those online, spin them up, and boom, we get more performance. So we need to build on our side the back end for supporting Elasticsearch as well. That's the rough overview, state of things. So probably we're looking at maybe 1711 for Elasticsearch to be production ready, but we won't be prepared to roll it out until this summer, and 1711 will be the earliest time that you would probably see it in a polished way.
Nick, a couple questions on that.
Yeah.
Is Elasticsearch something that users can, the libraries can turn on or off, or is it a major thing to incorporate? Is it something that you have a choice of?
Once we have an Elasticsearch server for your site, yes, you'll be able to choose whether to use it or not. It's a simple system preference that switches you from one to the other. However, if you don't have an Elasticsearch server running on the backend and your server is not configured to use it, turning on that switch won't do much. If you have a switch in your house that isn't wired to anything, you're not going to really expect your lights to come on.
Okay.
Hey, Nick, will Elastic and Zebra both be functioning on the server?
They can be run concurrently. As far as we can tell, there are at least no major issues in doing that. They can be run side by side. They will both get updated, and you can switch back and forth between the two to kind of see a different result set. And probably in initial testing, at a few sites we've been able to set it up so that you actually have two URLs, one URL which searches Zebra, one URL which searches Elastic, so that you can actually real-time compare apples to apples, do the same searches on the same set and see the results. So as we get into the stage where we're actually looking at rolling it out into production, that will probably be the first steps in testing, and we'll probably reach out to a few libraries, test it out with them, and then start to expand out from there.
Sorry if I missed this, but I understand that Elasticsearch is going to get us better results. Is there going to be a performance increase with Elasticsearch as well, or is that not the same?
Yeah, no, we expect the performance to be much faster.
What's the initial testing or benchmark on that?
We have not been really focusing on the benchmarking of that at this point. Some of what still slows down search is actually the processing on the Koha end. And once we have Elastic in and functioning, then we can work on taking advantage of its processing so that we're doing less, and we can work on speed then. But even as it is, I don't have benchmark, I don't have numbers, but I can tell you it feels faster. If you're using Koha DevBox, you can provision that, and when you bring up your box, you can have it running Elastic. And that's a good way to compare, just to test it out in your Koha DevBox and see it. It works out of the box right there. And so anyone interested in testing, if you need help getting a Koha DevBox set up, we're happy to work with you on that, because we'd love to have more users testing and get more feedback. And that's one of the big things we need right now, is we're just going to need user feedback. I can only tell so much from searching my own test database because I don't run a library out of my house.
Nancy, your group would be good for that. Max, those guys, they're really good at that.
Any other questions? All right. Todd, it's your show.
Cool.
The show. So just looking at the agenda, one of the questions I had for those who are in this meeting, and Robin, you went ahead and you created the 501c3. You're the one who submitted, correct? So it's actually registered there in
Kansas. Mm-hmm.
So that's something that's, I guess, imperative. I didn't realize that was so important, but that does, I guess, for tax structure and everything else, it's something that we have to keep in mind. Is there anybody here who has experience with 501c3? Is there anyone who's dealt with or worked with a 501c3 in the past, or have they had to set it up? I don't know what you had to go through to do that, Robin. I would imagine there was an application that you had to submit and certain criteria that we have to meet.
Yeah, I had to go through the state Secretary of State's office and fill out the form, and then we hired Jim Mingus to help us with the federal IRS stuff. The state stuff was pretty easy. The federal stuff was a little more challenging, all the questions and decisions that had to be made. But that was the first time I'd done it. So my expertise is this particular, just what I've done. So I don't really
No worries.
have a whole lot more.
I'm doing some investigation, so I want to make sure that, I go to the state where it's actually the application has been submitted.
Yeah, we're using the Nichols office as the official address.
Okay.
And we are the officers of the, I don't know how they explained it, but it had to have a physical address. And since
Is there any conflict that you know of using the Nichols office for the Koha-US?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I don't, it's just a physical location for them to send mail and stuff to. There's no requirements that we have to have in order to be the office. That was one thing Jim and I looked at. So as far as I'm aware, there's nothing.
So it doesn't necessitate having a PO box or something like that, just so we can say it's completely separate. Good.
Well, we can do that later if we want, probably. So.
Yeah. And I think probably one of the things that's going to be helpful, of course, is with bringing in new members and getting membership fees, being able to apply that to some of the needs that the Koha-US, of course, will have, and especially probably with some of the suggestions that I have, especially in some of my research for fundraising and for 501c3 fundraising. So one of the things that we've been able to, Robin set up, and we got the coding taken, she got the coding taken care of, was for the PayPal. And I think for Amazon as well. Is Amazon on the site?
Yeah,
okay.
It is now working. Michael from Bywater, actually did the coding and worked with me to get it to work, because I got the coding up there, but it was not working. He managed to make it work. So.
Yes, and Robbins did send me the code for the PayPal link that I'm going to try to put into the registration form. If anyone else has actually done this before, I would gladly give you all the files. Any takers?
Like
I'm
I
not
said,
sure. Well, there's the part where you submit the form and then where you submit the PayPal form, and I'm not sure which goes first. So I'll have to read up on PayPal unless you know.
I think it depends on, I think it depends on how our workflow is going to be on the registration form. So I think, I don't know.
This will be a good process for us to figure out, especially if we're going to do online registration for membership fees. This will be a good test run for us.
One of the things I can do is put a successful payment URL link in. So if you want to do payment first and then registration once payment has been confirmed, all I need is that URL of the registration page. If you prefer just to have, it's I'm not sure how the form is set up exactly. So that's just kind of a decision we'll have to make, I guess.
We'll get that ironed out.
Yeah, I think we should also put the registration form on something other than the philobiblios.net, such as Koha-US.net. So I can send somebody the files and they can add them by FTP.
Okay.
I tried bringing that up too, and it's not showing for me, Fred. It says couldn't find that page.
Yeah, I sent you the wrong URL.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
Maybe that's the last one. Then I need to open up. Sorry. Yep, I see it now.
Yeah, give it a try. I sure hope I put in the right thing this time.
You did. Thank
Good. And like I said, I haven't looked at the coding behind it. The Koha-US, because we're using MediaWiki on there, makes just basic HTML really difficult.
Yeah.
But it's possible we could do it. I'm just, because Yeah, it's going to hijack any URL we use and try to run it through the wiki. And
Oh, okay. I mean, we could run it from my website. I just feel nervous about it.
sure.
So one of the things I'm curious about is I sent out an email to board members. Sorry, the rest of you that are here that aren't board members that didn't receive that email, I can always forward it out to you, but I've been asking some questions. Domain names, going to GoDaddy, getting a Koha-US.org. They offer three for one. Of course, I'm sure the price is fitting for all three, but they give you different options. So I think you could get out for less than $60. You can get a domain name that you can secure for a couple of years, and which is something that I'm more than willing to contribute. I'd be happy to go ahead and purchase the domain name. And then also considering on the GoDaddy side, if we wanted to set up a website, so we can start isolating ourselves from all the organizations and associations that we currently have, from where you're at, Robin, from where you're at, Fred, and from where I am at with Bywater Solutions. So if we can separate and isolate so that we're more focused and it doesn't look like there might be some other things happening in the background that people might be weary of.
Well, we already own Koha-US Net, and I think maybe org. I don't remember.
Oh, good.
I go through DirectNick is my registrar. I think we didn't get COM because I'm not sure why, but Neckles has been contributing that, the domain name, last year or two, and then we'll transfer that over to Koha paying for it. So again, Neckles is no longer so involved, but we do have koha.us.net, and koha-us.net is our domain. And like I said, I think I'll have to check if I bought the org too when I was at it. Because if I didn't, or if I did, maybe we can have Koha org for.
It was interesting when I was on GoDaddy and I plugged those in and they all came up that they were available.
Did you put the dash in it? Because it's Koha-US is what I own.
I didn't put the dash in. Is the dash necessary for?
Not necessarily. That was the official name according to the government. So that's
okay.
What we did. So
yeah.
But yeah, we can.
Whatever you submitted to the 501c3, I think we'd want to adhere to. So.
Yeah, the official name is Koha-US on the paperwork. So.
Well, you could also register Koha-US and just have it switch over.
Yeah, shoot it over.
It's true.
Checking to see.
And if we haven't done that, Robin, I might just go ahead and pay for that. But I don't know where it's better to be registered for. And then if I pay for it, I don't know if I have the address for Koha. I mean, I'd be happy to pay for it and just donate that to Koha-US, just register it that way. So if I have that information, I don't mind doing that, just isolate it so we've got it.
Okay.
Then also, where we're going to have our website, who we want to host it with, and in creating that, and I don't know what the skill sets are like. I'm sure that there are plenty here in this group, but who wants to spearhead that and who wants to start getting this going, and then what that's going to look like, what that will entail.
Okay.
Okay. Slight aside, I just looked up Koha-US in Moniker, where I get my domains, .com, .org, website.
Yeah, it looks like I had done koha.na, Oregon.net, but I did not do that for US when we changed our name. So
you can also get .website for 99 cents for the first year.
Yeah, Moniker?
Yeah.
Wonder what it goes up to after the first year.
$24.99.
Huh, that's not bad. Not bad at all. What's the size? What do they give you? A couple gig?
It's just the domain.
Okay. Oh, just the domain. You said website. Sorry, I was thinking they were going to allow us to go ahead and build a website there. So
no, it's a domain called website.
Okay. Got it. So these are some of the things that, they're necessary for us to move forward. Of course, we're trying to get into the fundraising. That's not what this organization is all about, but it's something that's going to be imperative for this organization to be able to move forward with the things that we all want, whether it's helping Koha-US, helping the Koha community, and also in particular, I think, for developments, things that we want to see in Koha that are going to be relevant and maintain Koha relevance. So a suggestion, because these month timeframes that we have for meetings are important. You know, I mean, I'd hate to see them any longer, but for me, especially now, given my position with Bywater Solutions, since I'm now working with fundraising, and I'm supposed to be working kind of both sides. We have our own crowdsourcing, but I need to support Koha-US as well. So I have to differentiate between the two and support them both. But I would like to try to see if we can have, if there's an opportunity for a second meeting, you know, as we're trying to develop this. I know that sounds a bit much, but I wonder if for anybody who wants to participate, if we could have something until we finally get to the point of making these decisions and getting them moving. So, you know, if we know that we've got all the domain names we need, and if we have a website, and then, you know, making sure we have a committee to start working on that website, what that should look like. You know, I mean, this is probably something we could wrap up in one meeting if all these things were purchased and put in order. But I think some of the things that hold people back are, who's going to purchase this? And like I said, I don't mind, I'll purchase the domain name. I mean, I'd even probably go so far as to purchase year one for our website, just as a donation to Koha-US.
Well, there is that, but we did just get $50 from a very generous donor that we could use to pay for the, that was Todd, by the way, for everybody who is not aware. He tested out the PayPal button by donating $50. So, I mean, Koha-US right at the moment has, after your donation, $800 in the bank. So Koha can pay for whatever needs to be done. We do have the money there, and then if we're continuing to fundraise, now if you still want to donate, that's fine. But I'm not.
Well, I don't want to take anything away from what we're trying to develop.
Yeah, but at some point, it would be nice to just have Koha-US paying for all the stuff, because like I said, right now Nichols is paying for the domain name, and different people have been donating different things. So yeah, but however you guys want to do it. But I'm not going to turn down an offer to pay for the domain name if you really want it.
as none of us should. And that's one thing I think I want to also kind of broach on, since we said that, and not to stand out that I made a donation. Yeah, I wanted to test, but then I kind of thought, well, I better put my money where my mouth is. You know, here I am talking about trying to get people to donate to Koha, and I hadn't even made a donation yet. So I went ahead and did it. So I'm not here to influence, but I'm here to suggest that if any of you feel inclined, you know, it's funny, it's each one of us that makes the difference. So even if it's just this group to start so people can see that we're all doing it, it's nice to be able to say that we've contributed to something that we believe in, and we can carry that forward. Enough said on that. So then some of the other things that start to enter in, of course, is I've been looking at a number of different sites. Google for nonprofits looks like a good one that we might be able to get some use out of. There are some requirements. They want you to make sure that you can you qualify as an NGO, and that you you know, you can qualify through TechSoup. So there are a lot of these, you know, kind of items that you have to go through, and different steps that you have to move through in order to be accepted, in order to get your NGO nonprofit status, 501c3 status, so that you can use some of these tools. And these tools, of course, come at a reduced price for nonprofits. And then they offer you a number of different things too, so that you have not just a, you know, a national, but an international appeal. And, you know, and you're able to reach out further than just, you know, your normal scope of business. So for us, we wouldn't just be looking Koha-US, although that's important. We'd be willing to accept anything, because I think even as a US organization, we want to work with the international organization as well. We're just a group. Am I right or am I wrong? You can correct me if you want to, but I think that Koha is international. It's an international software.
Yes.
So then our appeal, of course, is to work with and you know, and do things for Koha-US, but whatever we're doing in Koha-US, we're impacting internationally as well.
Mm-hmm.
So to also have not just a US appeal, but international appeal. Not that we have to have that kind of presence right away, but that's something that we need to keep in the back of our mind, that it's inevitable. So, you know, on this whole process, while we're thinking about domain names and we're thinking about websites and what that website should look like and donations and so forth, you know, just not only just US or North America, but what that international appeal is going to look like. Does anybody have anything to say in regards to any of this? I know it's kind of, I think it's new for all of us. I mean, we've talked about it, you know, and everybody thought, oh yeah, fundraising, this and this is great. You know what? It's not a car wash. It's not selling brownies or cookies on a sidewalk. next to the Girl Scouts and trying to beat them out. It's something more, and it's a little daunting if you're new to it and if you haven't done it, especially at this level.
And I'm just pointing out, I'm still working on the CSS. Am I muted?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, good. I am still working on the CSS and everything, but this donations page is where you can go to test out the donate button yourself, or add Koha-US as your smile.amazon.com target, or send a check. And we've gotten a check or two before we got all this set up, so from different organizations. So Todd was mentioning it, and I just wanted to say that it is there, and you can send people there anytime. Like I said, I'm still working on the CSS to make it a little less crazy looking. But
Robin, just as a side note, what is our balance at this point?
right now, what I had, the balance before Todd's donation was $770.28, and then he donated $50, $48.25 of which we got after PayPal.
Takes their percentage.
And I have transferred that into the bank account, but it's not registered on my paper thing yet. So $770 plus $48.25, $800-ish.
Anyway, I just came from her office. I know what that is. Yeah.
I have a question. I'm working on my next year's budget. Our fiscal year starts July 1st. I'm going to specify some amount for donation for Koha development. So I want to be able to tell my director that what I donate is going to go right to development for. Are we going to separate funds? Or are we going to let people designate what their donation's for, or how's that going to work?
You're muted, Rob.
I did note on PayPal there is a place to make note about special notes about your donation.
Right. I was going to say I know there's a note. It doesn't say, you have to put it.
So I'm kind of curious if it was something that we didn't have that was part of the Koha-US site, but let's say it was a development that you wanted to contribute to the 501c3, but let's say it was something that Bywater had listed on their site as something you wanted to contribute to. Can we do that? Can we say we'd like this money to go towards a particular development that I see Bywater Solutions is working on? Or if it was BibLibre, or if it was Calix or Catalyst or anybody, if there's something that you saw out there that you wanted to contribute to, is that something that we can isolate down to?
You can put a note in it. We don't have, right at the moment, any way of tracking donations. That's one of the things we need to do, is figure out, we've been looking at open source nonprofit management software. And I think Lizette's not here. She's been looking into it the most. She has most information about it right at the moment. But if we had that kind of software, we could set up funds in that software and track much more easily than we can right now. Right now, I could set up a spreadsheet, keep track of things, but we don't really have a way of doing it easily. That being said, we can always make a note next to a donation, and it's just whether or not we get enough money to do anything.
Robin?
Yeah.
On the donations, on the particularly with the PayPal donations, is there a way to have different things to check off for donation? Like, I just want to donate to the group in general. This is a membership fee. I'd like this to go to a specific development that Koha-US is working on.
We can customize the button to have a drop-down list, and they can choose where they want their donation to go if we want to do it that way. And then
I think that would be great.
Yeah, we just need to come up with what the
that list is.
As long as we could have something in there where they could designate something specific outside of that list, that would be great. But we could give them several things that they could apply them towards.
We have a development committee set up, and I know they reported once, but couldn't we use them to identify some things? I know there's libraries out there that have money and they're frustrated because they have not had access to developers to do what they want to do. So maybe Koha-US could help by gathering this together and working with Bywater to get something to happen.
You know, and to make sure that the playing field is all equal and even, one of the other things that I sent out an email to the board again was just a list with links of, you know, we can start developing a pool of Perl programmers that we could go to. You know, different people are going to have different time requirements, and you know, some are going to be able to work at different hours than you know others will be able to. So for us to be able to find somebody who might be able to take that job, or to be able to list something, and that the people that we use from this pool can go in and look at, and they can either bid on the job or they can accept the job. I think, be it Bywater, be it BibLibre, be it some freelance Perl programmer. But developing that pool is going to be kind of important. And so what you're saying, Nancy, I think, you know, if we had something like that, and if you needed to have it done overnight, and we were able to get this thing taken care of, I think that would probably be good for us.
Well, we have a committee, and I'm not really sure what they've done so far. They were looking at developments to possibly put some money behind. But if there's stuff out there that's bigger than, you know, some minor things that we could come up with that we could pool our money with. I know there's libraries out there that have money. They would like to improve Koha. We just need to get that all together. I think maybe a website will be the place where we can do it, though. We need to get that out there, something better than the wiki.
Yes.
For people to look at and make some decisions. I just started a conversation with my purchasing person about how am I going to donate, and that's going to be a problem with the county. They don't like you to donate county funds. So I've got some Friends of the Library gift funds that I can put towards that, but I'm going to have something a little more specific to point to, other than we're just going to get together and pool our money for something. So we're going to have some concrete things to show and
So Nancy, if it was going to be a development that you needed that you want to have done specifically, and let's say you got with Bywater and you said, could somebody give me an estimate for this particular development? They gave you a number, and then you said, yes, we have that amount. We'll go ahead and pay for it. That would be one of our crowdsource funding, or just pay through developments that you could do, that you would get invoiced specifically for that particular development. So that's one route you can go. But if it's going to be through the 501c3 and it was going to be a donation, then being able to work on the back end so that if you said, you know, to somebody, this is what we're looking at, we need to have this development done, you might still need to go through the process of getting the quote, so you could then offer that maybe to Robin or somebody. If you'd like to put this money through the 501c3.
That's true.
We need to get invoice back on that. We need, Bywater already said they're going to do it, or this Perl programmer over here said he was going to do it. You know, we have somebody who understands. We would like to vet the Perl programmers. So I talked with Kyle, and he said, yeah, there probably would be some kind of vetting program we can put in place. And so he'll evaluate that with all the other things he has to work on. But he and Nick would put something like that together. But until that point, you know, yeah, you've got a couple different avenues. You can go with us direct, and then we can invoice you directly and do the development, or through the 501c3 and just deal with whoever the treasurer is and get invoiced back. And then, you know, all that information would then either come to Bywater to somebody else that you have found.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think getting you the invoice probably is not going to be an issue.
All right.
Either.
Had another thought, which probably has already been done. Has anyone tried finding a college or university professor who teaches Perl, who is looking for students to do a semester project?
That's always a thought, Fred. Absolutely. I think the local schools would be a kind of a hotbed for us to be able to get some development done. Kids that are looking for projects.
Yeah, and maybe give them a small stipend at the end of the semester.
Yeah. Yeah. And those are other things that we should look at as an organization, not only development end, but also probably the testing and evaluation, and not just develop it up to a point and hand off on it, but make sure it gets through testing. And then, you know, even if it's a matter of, you know, a $25, $50, or $100 stipend, depending on the amount of testing that they have to do and evaluation, so we can get it ratcheted up through the development phase, you know, being able to to pay for people to go in and do that testing, because I don't know why this community has difficulty with testing some of these developments, but it seems to be one of the things that holds us back at times.
Maybe you could start by approaching academic institutions that are running Koha, saying, "You teach Perl here? Well, guess what?"
Yeah, and that's something that in my position, it might be kind of outside of the scope of fundraising, but knowing that that is necessitated for us to be able to move forward, it probably would be some of the preliminary work, reaching out to some of the universities where they may teach Perl, and also just trying to find people, again, freelance Perl programmers. And I found a lot of these guys, I mean, some of their prices were just, really out there, like $150 an hour. And some are like 15 to 30 bucks an hour, and they have really good rankings. I mean, people have gone to them a number of times, and they really like the work, and they're very professional. So you can read up on all their biographies. You can find out the kind of work they've done. They even, will tell you where you can go and see it. But yeah, the universities would be another great place to do that for sure.
How many of us here work for a university? You wave your hand. John does. Anybody else?
If you don't have a camera, you can raise your hand in the participants window too.
John, do you have anybody at who are they doing Perl programming up there that you're knowledgeable of?
I'll have to take a look around. I'm not really certain. Here at the business school, we're kind of isolated from just about everything else. But we do have a College of Engineering, and I believe there's also a separate computer science program that's part of the Literature, Science, and Arts College. I'll take a look around and see what I might be able to find out.
Cool.
Thank you.
University of Michigan, they probably invented Perl there.
Larry Wall probably lives in Michigan, somewhere close to UM.
And since it has changed in the midst of this meeting, I will tell you our total balance now is $866.78. We got another $50 donation while we've been talking. Mr. Brannon.
Love it. There you go, Chris.
And I'm going to be making a few small donations when I'm testing the button.
That works.
That's how I got started, Fred.
If I make a donation of $1, will the fees add up to more than $1?
Quite possibly, yeah.
Oh.
But if you do, I've got a fee template here. The problem is there's like a base 30 cents or something like that. But
yeah.
so
It's 30 cents plus 2.9%, if I remember correctly.
That's
Robin,
right.
do you have a minimum donation set?
I don't believe I do, no.
Might be wise because we'd hate to be nickel and dimed out of funds.
I'd like it if we had something on there that if they put an amount, you can a little bubble pops up says, "You sure that's all you got?"
You can't
You
just
go
throw
just
another
$5 higher. Are you sure? Really? I'm just asking.
Can you sacrifice a coffee this week?
Exactly. Help a starving Koha user. It's kind of fun. And when I first went in there, I put $1 million for the donation. And I sat back and I looked at it and laughed. I thought, boy, wouldn't that be fun to be able to do something like that? And I thought, Koha community, Koha-US would all be lit up. But then I thought, Brendan would be killing me going, how come I never knew you had this kind of money? You could be helping in so many ways. So those are some of the things that, I'm working on. And those are some of the things that I have of concern. It's I spoke with Chris Davis the other day, and I told him, I said, it seems a little slow. I know everybody's sort of disjointed, so we talked about, the speed of library and how that is. And I worked in the library, Nancy. And so we know sometimes things can take time. There's a certain level of bureaucracy that happens in there. But I think for this group in particular, to get this going and to have something, it'd be fun if we had, even if we had the beginnings of a website that we could show people when we're at the conference. Just something that we can offer and we can get input while we're there. And I think that'd be a great discussion. I think talking about fundraising, even still, I don't think I've offered that, Chris, to or I don't know if it's on the agenda. I haven't seen it, but I didn't offer it since I just came into this position. But I think talking about that and being able to talk about our website and talk about our presence and stuff like that, I think that would be something wonderful to talk about. And I think it really allows people to open up their minds and kind of wax creative and get some really good input. Mr. Brandon.
I'm all for us having discussions. In fact, I know the concern about us having, major discussions once a month here. I would like for us to be able to have ongoing discussions. And Todd, I know that you have sent your information to the board members to generate some discussion. I would like to encourage anybody, if there's things that we wanted to talk about and not have to wait month by month for discussion, we can always generate discussion through the listserv, because we have a listserv going. We don't have to necessarily wait for the meeting, but if there's something that's generated that we need to do an official discussion and decision on, then we can do that at a meeting, and we're all up to speed through the listserv. So all these discussions that we're having, I would like to encourage everybody, let's get these topics talked about in the listserv so that we can keep moving forward and not be held back by this once a month meeting. I want us to go forward. I want us to move faster. I don't want us to go out of control, but I want us to move faster.
It feels like these things kind of they slow us down and hold us up. And once we can get past this and we can just put this thing on cruise control and we all know what we're working towards and just plug into those areas so we can, find and match and meet our needs, I think that would be just fantastic.
Going back to your website thing, I just wanted to ask the group here today. So, I know that we have about 9 minutes left here for this meeting. Is there anybody here that would like to try and tackle working on the website if we get that going? I know I have some website ability and ideas, but I don't want to steal the show from anybody else that wants to contribute to Koha-US. And if this is one way that you can contribute, we'd love to have you on board and helping out in that arena.
I'd be happy to help.
What's that?
I'd be happy to help set it up.
I just redid the website at my library. If we can do WordPress, I can help you with it. I guess I was a little late to the discussion. I don't know exactly what the website is for, but is it going to be like a replacement for the wiki?
We're revamping Romper Room, so we want to know how to actually set it up. And it's all about Koha-US, Chris. Sorry, I just wanted to play.
Part of the problem is the wiki, like Fred's fabulous form that he created, would be really difficult to have in the wiki because it would require making a template and then writing JavaScript to make it it's an insane process to get HTML onto a wiki. So we need to have some other kind of somewhere we can put plain HTML that without jumping through flaming hoops.
Jesse's done a great job. And I think that, if she wants to lead and spearhead this, that'd be fantastic. I call on her. She's extremely creative, and I think that she'd bring a lot of great ideas.
Awesome.
So Jesse, if you want to take that on, that would be great. And Christopher, if you want to contribute, connect with Jesse.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
All right.
There's probably plenty of hosts out there. I threw out a link on the chat. We use this for a few different places for hosting. I just helped set up another website through them, and they offer reasonable prices. 2M Host, so they're a good company. They've been really stable. They offer really competitive prices. So. That's one place to look at. If you can find a better deal, go for it.
How do we want to set this up? Robin's more or less in charge of the funding, so we're just kind of dumping on you, Robin, and say, "Oh, well, you go out and just do all this stuff for us." But
I can create an account and put in our. I don't have a checking account, or I've got a checking account. I don't have checkbooks because, quite frankly, I just don't write checks. But I do have a debit card, and I can use that to pay for an account wherever you guys want to go, and then once that's paid for, Jesse can take it from there if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I've got a suggestion. Hey, looks like you can hear me. At least for the registration form, I could register Koha-US.org and add it to my list of or collection of domains, create a web spot this afternoon. And I think I can do it without paying extra except for the domain, which I can afford. It's $10.99. So it would be running from a legitimate address.
Let me ask this, Jesse. Would you have any considerations for a host's site that you think that would be workable for Koha-US? It doesn't have to be 2M host; it could be anything. But if you had a suggestion for that, could we set something up and move our form to that, and we can run off of that for the time being until we get our website going, but we could set that form up on there?
Sure. I can email the group a list of suggestions if you guys want to take a look, and then we can take it from there.
Okay. Why don't you send that to the board, and we can all sound off on that and make a decision on that.
Okay.
But Fred, you said that the registration form is the final draft is pretty much ready.
Except for the PayPal link.
Okay.
And I also need to know what email address to send it to.
Okay.
Is that going to limit us, Fred? Didn't you say that there's going to be some change and you're no longer going to be member at large? Will you be still participating with the Koha community and the Koha meetings, or I just want to make sure that we don't have anything that's going to be the ties that bind, and next thing you know we have to do something and all that. I'd rather be with one outlet and just be consistent with that, so we don't have to worry about trying to maintain, because people sometimes hodgepodge these things together, and next thing you know, it just turns into something you don't want to have.
Yeah, I agree. I was just thinking of something we could do fairly quickly.
Yeah.
And if I'm allowed, I might be convinced to run for member at large again.
Oh,
since I ran unopposed last time.
Well, I thought you said that you were going to be. I didn't. Okay, good. Wonderful.
All right.
What do you think about that, Jess? You good? There's a Koha-US board. If you look in the email, the contacts, you can just type in Koha-US and the board comes up. So all the board members are right in there. Cool. I'm always glad.
If you're agreeable, we could set up koha.org on my site, and I'll just, when we get something permanent, move it over.
What do you have for design? Excuse me. Do you have a WYSIWYG? Or is it just straight HTML? And
I'm not sure. What I was planning to do is just put the form on and then give somebody else the password so they can upload it. Use Fat Cow for that host.
Jess, do you have Fred's information?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Fred, did you send out the link to the committee for the final draft on that registration form?
Yes.
Okay. I'll encourage everybody to give their final input on that. I'd like to be able to get this up one way or another ASAP, because I want people to be able to register for that conference. But because we were hoping to activate something on the 12th, and we're a little past that. So as soon as we can get it moving forward, that'll be awesome. Todd, anything else on the fundraising?
Well, there's a few things, but I think we've hit on some of the major topics, and I think that we need to get over these hurdles before we can move on to some of the others. I would like it if people could go in and take a look at Google Nonprofit. Just take a look at that and maybe put some give us some feedback. It's pretty easy to find it. Google for nonprofits. It's google.com/nonprofits. but just take a look. I think it's a consideration for us. We probably should have our own separate world, an account that we're working in, and all that stuff, so we can really start to just make ourselves the organization I think that we want to grow into. We don't have to have all the bells and whistles right now, but just to have the basic structure. We can look at, people can come in, take a look at calendar, they can send emails from the Google nonprofit, and I think that would benefit us.
Okay. All right. Well, before we close up shop, is there anything else that somebody wanted to bring up?
Open time?
Did we talk about nominations for officers?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
that's first thing on the list.
I'll watch the recording.
Yeah.
You're nominated for everything.
If you have any nominations or you want to nominate yourself, please submit those to the listserv, and Chris will take note of them, and we'll put them on the agenda for discussion next meeting. Christopher, what is our date and time for next meeting?
Yeah, okay, hold on here. I believe it is July 12th. I probably will not be at that meeting, but July 12th.
I'm sorry, you don't have that option. July 12th, same time.
I've got 10:30 on my calendar, so.
Cool.
What time zone are you in?
Central.
8:30 Pacific.
All right.
We make you get up early, Todd.
Just a reminder to everybody, if you have anything that you want to discuss for this group, I encourage you to open discussions on the listserv. We'll talk about things and continue discussions and keep moving forward. And anything that needs to be finalized or decided on, we'll do at the next meeting, but don't leave it to the next meeting to bring it up. Feel free to bring it up in the listserv, and we'll keep trudging forward.
Is there any consideration for an IRC channel for Koha-US?
It's something that we could do. Bring it up.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
We'll hash it out.
That's our first good discussion on this.
Yeah.
Do you think that there would be enough chatter to sustain it?
I hope so.
Possibly.
Okay.
It never has to.
Hard to sustain it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Todd, thank you very much for everything that you brought to the table today.